Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Torchlight. Torchlight? Torchlight's the name of this game. I guess since there was a long break in between the last time I played and last recording, I came back to floor fort 17 here from like 3 weeks ago, so I don't know where I'm going, so I'm guessing this is the right way. In the last recording, we did a portal that was in a level that looked exactly like this. I feel like they really failed to have the portals take us to different areas than whatever floor we had most recently reached. And that doesn't make a lot of sense, frankly. I think it would be a lot better if the portal quest had us go back up to floor 1 or an area that looked like floor 1 where the mines were, fighting stronger versions of those enemies. I mean, all you would have had to done is give the same enemies a more health instead of us finding tree ants here. Trents. That's the real way to pronounce instead of World of Warcraft's way of pronouncing it and Hearthstone's way of pronouncing things. It doesn't make sense, particularly when you know that the player at any point could purchase and open a map that would semi-randomly generate another portal to another area. It's kind of interesting, there's not even a loading bar here, it's just a spinning hourglass concept. Nobody has seen a spinning hourglass concept implemented in a game in quite a long time, because the idea of seeing a spinning hourglass can easily be received as, oh, it's just spinning but it's not actually doing anything, whereas if you see a bar that is constantly moving towards the left, you're given the perception that it's doing something. Whether it really is doing anything or not is always subjective and based on what's actually going on, but it's certainly the most preferred way to depict that the computer has not crashed in the process of trying to load something, or just gone into an infinite loop, which, yeah, in the bad old days of computers, going into infinite loops, particularly if you were programming, which is what I was educated to do, is be a programmer, getting into infinite loops happened all the time in programming. Maybe not anywhere as often for an end user, but you would see it, certainly. You would definitely see cases where the computer would just go nowhere and do nothing new. You had to have an amazing amount of patience for computers in the old days compared to today's day and age. The good thing there, of course, is that we didn't know any better. It's not like we had super fast computers that we could work on and then had to go back to super slow computers. Everything was super slow. And yeah, the world is better with speed. Things moving fastly is the way to go. I've forgotten about these guys that get knocked over the edge. This is getting complicated, to say the least. These areas are getting more windy and more circular, and
I can't carry anymore.
I'm already out of inventory again. Let's see. We spent like 30 minutes, which was way too long in the store, and with our increased barter, it didn't really even increase our money by any real amount. Unfortunately, I guess we are still picking up big health potions. I thought we would be done with that. I gambled for this new 40 armor dragon scale mantle, which is super useful, and I don't think we would find anything to replace what we've got for a while there. So identify scrolls. But some of these other items I think I probably do need to try and get rid of. One of the elements here is the fact that there's an achievement kind of makes me want to try and enchant something 5 times successfully. That would take money, and gambling for items is frankly a better use of my money. We're running into more famed characters. We're running into some spiders that can do electrical damage, and when they do electrical damage, that manages to do some major damage to me. For the first time ever, the dog actually got hurt enough that he started fleeing. The dog does not ever permanently die or anything like that, but he will run away and then slowly have to fix himself or heal himself up automatically. He heals automatically, but it takes a while, or you can just give him a potion. We've been in this level, I think, a little bit longer than welcome. I think I would like to see floor 18 here be the last floor of this, and I wouldn't be upset if we had a shorter floor 18 that was mostly around enemies, a boss fight, but not really seeing any indication of that. Meanwhile, the other floors moved around so often that I've kind of totally forgotten them. I've kind of totally forgotten the mines and the castle columns, for lack of a better descriptive word. And I feel like there was probably some other areas that I ran through. And yeah, I guess I am trying to play through this game
My pack is full.
as fast as possible, so not that the game is making that easy. You can't really get around the fact that this is a loot game, and because of that you're constantly having this issue. The weapons I'm picking up in particular are still doing a considerably small amount of damage. I'm gonna take this identify scroll and send him with that instead. Go ahead and send him to the shop.
Has departed.
He'll probably get a couple hundred, 1,000 or so dollars from everything he sells, and by the time he comes back we'll have probably a full inventory again of things. So we'll meanwhile fight without him, and we don't need the dog, which it really does just make him unnecessary. It's a little strange how close you have to get to these spawning pods to actually make enemies come out of them. Is that an item? No. Some of these,
Your pet has returned.
yeah, 930 39 gold. I probably would have gotten more if I fast traveled to the, well, not fast traveled, town's gold to the store and sold it myself with my barter skill.
Your fame has increased. I can't carry anymore.
Right. But it's not really worth it. I was at 20,000 and I gambled buying new items, and the gamble paid off pretty well. I tried to get a better belt, which is, I guess, the next thing we'd want to look for. We're getting rid of these Gorgon boots at this point. 7 armor compared to 40 armor. Like the new standard of finding things with 40 armor that also have a masterful amount of elements. Elemental effects are great. Now some of these things also give extra experience, and we're still trying to increase our experience, but honestly, I guess percentages never change, so 1% of experience is still a good amount of experience gain increase until you can find something that does better. But at some point I am going to really need just more armor. Something that would not get in the way of that. Right. We'll increase our pet mastery. At level 24 we get this, and then at level 25 we get this. I probably could have saved my fame and done treasure hunter and this, so that may have been a mistake there. That was hidden behind the wall. It would be interesting if the game somehow punished you or told you how many times you left something on the ground and missed it. But frankly, that would also be incredibly infuriating if they said, "Oh, you dropped a unique item on this floor." Yeah, I think I've said this before, but honestly, if you reduced the number of items and just had really, really good items drop always, I think that's the best way you modernize a game like this. And then perhaps you have at the end of every floor, before you leave, a summary of you're leaving on this floor a legendary item. If you leave it, you'll increase your chance of finding another legendary item on the next floor, or you'll get a certain amount of gold for leaving things on the ground. But yeah, integrate the fact that the inventory is small and controlled. Or just have an infinite inventory. It really wouldn't stop most modern computers to have infinite carry weights, infinite inventory, infinite number of items. At a certain point that gets ridiculous, but that would be up to the player to determine whether they wanted to ever sell their items or engage in any of the bartering. I feel like a speedrunner would really love to have infinite inventory, play several floors, collecting everything, and then go back to the storefront and sell a lot of items. Yeah, anything that speeds up the process would be greatly appreciated in a game like this. Anything that gets the grind removed or reduced, which is a weird thing to say, certainly, because this entire game is built around that concept. It's built around adding grind and making it a longer experience. And nowadays, by 2019 standards, that's kind of not what you want. I think like Clash Royale fails to understand this, to mention another cell phone game that you're supposed to play every day. I'm falling out of love with playing with Clash Royale. I've upgraded everything, and there's really only one main gameplay mechanic that is only slightly changed depending on a few factors, but they definitely never learned that concept of getting the grind removed. I would love Clash Royale a lot more if I could log into it and spend just 5 minutes playing it and doing the dailies, and that's it. But even the dailies honestly are an hour, 2 hours of gameplay. Same is true with Hearthstone. Like the dailies on Hearthstone are easily hour and a half to 3 hours every day.
You have completed
And
the task.
if you do it slightly smarter and wait every 3 days, so you have an overlapping of daily quests in Hearthstone, you can get it done in about 3 hours. But that's a lot of time. That is a lot of time for a card game. Whereas if there was just a shorter way to play the card game with half health, for instance, and each card game was half as long, because each player had half health, there would be a much better experience, in my opinion, with that.
You have completed the task.
Right. So clearly, I can get to the bottom of this floor, but I don't think there's any further that I should go, because we've done 2 of the main quest tasks. We either fought a named Fame character, or we fought the boss of the floor. Because this camera is so zoomed out, and this very well may just be a case of this really may be more of a case of the fact that I am at a higher resolution. We're in this weird position. Right, more barter. Yeah, so it'll be next turn that we could put a point here, which means we could have, in the next turn, if we have 2 fames by that point, put one here, and theoretically here. So had I been sitting on a lot of that stuff, that would have worked better. Am I trying to do more damage, or should I just maybe increase my magic in case I ever want to use that? Or should I try to increase my armor? Let's see. Yeah, I think that works, and we'll see. I guess maybe if we can push dexterity all the way up to 100%, because I just don't think we're ever going to use the spells, even though that's what our class should be using. Then inventory. We've probably don't have a lot of more room. Is Primal Ember taking up a room? Alright. Don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that. Definitely don't want that. Don't want that. Don't want that.
I'm
Definitely
overburdened.
don't want that. Okay. Alright. We pick up everything here. These are different. I don't recall seeing these before. So, are there perhaps some enemies that only spawn at certain levels? And so if there was a new game plus mechanic to this, I would be better suited to deal with that. To come back and play this a second time and see a whole collection of enemies that they didn't bother to show me in the first case. That would be frustrating, to say the least, if that was true. They're not showing me enough variety in this game to make me super happy with that if that was the case. Like if I went back to the mines and found out that there's a whole new collection of enemies on floor 1 at the mines, that would feel like something that would be so easily missable. Right, so let's go down, and I imagine even if this was just indicating that there was going to be a huge boss fight, which, let's face it, there might be, it doesn't make sense to not go to the store. So back we go. Just trying to limit the number of fast travels that we end up doing here.
Good to see ya.
Alright. So, think we can fairly sell all of these. These items are not selling for anything versus what they are purchasing. This is kind of capitalism in a nutshell, I guess, is the idea that you're going to get super screwed when trying to sell anything. And frankly, in modern society, if you go into a store and try to sell anything, they'll laugh at you. They would never buy anything from a customer. Let's see. So, yeah. Trying to sell anything, or, well, frankly, trying to have anything to sell in the first place becomes a weird issue. If I was gonna buy something, it would have to be a legendary level bow, I think. I don't think I would buy anything else, and I don't think that there would be any reason why he would have any of that stuff. The rest of the stuff is just things I had. A 9 armor boots. Then if I scroll, 13 armor clasp. That increases experience. 10 armor shield, which we can't use with a bow and arrow. $128 pistol. I guess maybe we might get back to using a shotgun, but I don't think so.
Take care now.
Alright.
Hello there.
So we do this, we did the fame quest, which will give us some more fame. And then we'll take a new fame quest on level 21. So we're on like level 19 right now.
A new quest. Hi there.
This guy has nothing. He's the best guy to sell to, frankly, because of that.
What can I do for you?
She can give us more of these things, and they're not so expensive that they are breaking the bank. And you kind of have to buy all of these. This would require level 30, so I can't use it. Flaming Sword 5, Skeleton 5, Archers 5. With spells, does the dog have? He has summon archers 3 at rank 1. What level is this guy? Level 24?
Hi there.
So, it would require level 25. Might as well purchase this right now. Map scrolls are not things we want to purchase. Rings aren't anything we want to purchase. My own Summon Zombie 1 and Heal All 2 are things that never really ranked up. So then the Skeleton 5. Enchanted Flaming Sword 5. One of these probably should be a spell I should know, but I'm not sure. And I am a little low on gold, so I don't think that there would make a lot of sense to do that right now. None of these weapons are part of any kind of set.
Goodbye.
This guy did not have any kind of set item that I saw either, although I wasn't really paying enough attention. So if he did have something that was part of a set, I would have overlooked it, almost certain. Alright, Court Finery. Increase all physical and elemental damage for 42. I'm gonna purchase this just for a set, but that's the only reason I'm getting it. And this is ridiculous because I'm just purchasing parts of things that you're, I think, never actually going to be able to get a complete set of anything. Seems like it's too random and there's too many of them. Unless the game gives you some kind of quest at some point that makes more sense and actually works. So we have trance plates at 20 armor. Compared to my dragon scale. So that's nothing. Then we have Court Finery, which would reduce resistance. But do more armor. Meanwhile, we have Gorgon gloves with Gorgon boots. So we need to get rid of the Gorgon boots. Wait a minute. Aww. There's 2 pieces of Court Finery, too. They're different. Look at the effects here are completely different for the specific item. So you can't get those special items, I think, even by purchasing them easily. Meanwhile, this is a Adapt Chaos Gem, so we can merge those two together. And Cracked Cold Ember versus Cold Ember, Cracked Deep Ember with another Cracked Deep Ember, and then Dull Core Ember, Cracked Core Ember, we'll take that too. Alright, back over to the... Let's go ahead and talk to this guy and get that returned to me. So I get 1,000 more frame. Now he wants me to come across another sample.
You have gained a task. Hail!
Right. Hardened plated sabatons. Right. Well, if I can get my strength up to 32, which would be interesting.
Good journey.
And my strength is not at 32 right now. It's not anywhere close, so I'd never be able to use these boots. So I might as well just sell them.
Hail!
Meanwhile, this and this adapt chaos gem plus adapt chaos gem. These seem to be all identical items, but they're not working. So chaos gems are not upgradable. Dull core ember with cracked core ember and cracked core ember.
Fortune smiles on you. Fortune is kind.
Now we have a discolored core ember.
Fortune is kind to you.
Dull deep ember. And I cracked eyeball. I didn't see that one. We have a double socket here that I could do faster cast speeds on this wealthy gold ring.
Good journey.
If I can get this ring enchanted. The question is, can I enchant this with 5 times? That's what we're trying to do. 1.
Fortune is kind to you.
Okay. And it just takes you out of this because they definitely don't want you to get removed. 4% now for 16,000.
Fortune smiles on you. Farewell.
Increased magic find.
Day.
So that's 2. And we can't even afford it. We're out of money. Alright. So. Put this here and this here. And then we're going to have to get rid of this. Increased experience gain. Increased experience gain. 1 sting copper ring. 1 sting copper ring. They're the exact same copper rings. Hey, let's go try something here. I never thought of this originally playing this game. Can we transmute 2 rings that are exactly the same? The answer to that is no. Well, that's a shame, but
Good luck to you.
not amazingly surprising.
I've got the finest cut gems in Ember.
Let's sell that for some money.
See ya.
Right. Cracked eyeball. Dull eyeball. And then purple. And then dull cores. And then blue. And you know what, I'll just take an opportunity to drop these off right now and we'll deal with that later. Let's look at the dog's inventory. Right. Right click to learn this spell. Hold control left click to unlearn this spell. Level 24, this requires level 25. So this will just equip next level. So we're suited well for that. Inventory though. We have increased experience gain, increased experience gain. I have no idea if he's really getting increased experience gain by 1%. This is 1% increased gold find for something that we frankly didn't need. So I'm gonna put this here and hold on to that ring because that probably is a mistake. And then transmute these eyeballs, which would be magic attributes if it was in an armor, or mana stone per health.
Take care now.
Which I don't really need either of those things. So yeah, that's kind of frivolous. This guy doesn't have a new quest for us yet, which I'm a little surprised about. Let me just double check our inventories of everything. 2% increased experience gain. Why do I only have 1% increased experience gain? Let's switch those around. Yeah. That way we can at least balance things. I meant to put that.
This mountain has always.
Don't want to talk to her. Quest wise, yeah, we're good. Back. A lot of menu heroing going on here. A lot of setup. I guess we are at a point where we are double clicking. It is taking 3 or 4 hits to kill regular enemies, so our damage is too low. We need to get back to 1-hit kills. If we can't make that happen, then we're gonna have a bad time, because effectively that's doubling the amount of gameplay. These fires don't do anything. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's taking about 6 or 7 hits, I would say, to kill the bigger characters. So I need to save up my gold and not go for any more enchantments, although maybe more enchantments on that one ring, which, now that I put things in the sockets, means that I might lose the sockets and the items in there, which would suck, for sure. But the only way I'd get those chaos gems out anyways is if I we should hit 4 and see how fast it is to cast a spell now. Right. 1, 2, 3. They're not bad. You can see my mana on this is not. It's not going down at all. So if I wanted to play that way and wear out my fingers, my left hand fingers pressing the number 4 on the number pad instead of wearing out my pointer finger on my right hand, clicking the mouse button, suppose I could do it that way. We're just kind of constantly running into this problem now. Though things things going in circles and not being certain which way to go. Because there's a down and there's an up. I guess if you're seeing enemies, that might be the right way, or it might be the wrong way. What we haven't found is a item drop that is to the level of quality that... how much damage would one of these guys do? Yeah, my magic damage is too low. So while I may be able to constantly activate a spell and damage people, the amount of damage that's actually doing is not high enough. So I need to start running into things that would work better. Right. So we've got a 26 armor that does not increase our ice and fire damage or knockback or critical or anything like that. So I don't think we'd want to use that. I'm gonna take this whole stack and sell that. Average attack speed, mace. This belt, no, 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 no. We've stopped running into enchantment pools too. Like we ran into one of those, I think, in the game, and that was it. Where maybe we've run into two, but we clearly haven't done enough to justify never seeing another one of them. And we've got Charm 2, which I'm doing Frost 1. I think I want to do Frost 1 like crazy and summon zombies too. Like, is there a reason to learn this? Right click to heal it, to learn it. You can't, you've got to unlearn something else. Alright, so what I'm going to do is set... Energy Bolt. It's what is a spell that we learn through our own items. Like, it's a skill because I'm a mage. So at some point maybe I could get Ember Strike and use something with that. I'm gonna do Summon Zombie on 4, and I'm gonna try to use that as much as possible. And the reason for that is not because I really want it to be helpful, but I just want to see if I could level it up, or how many uses does it take to really level it up. Of course, it's at this cooldown, so as soon as I do it, I have to wait 30 seconds. Having zombies run around is not an ideal visual experience, because it means there's going to be more creatures on the screen that look like enemies, and I'm gonna end up inevitably trying to kill my own creatures. Same is true for the dog, but at least the dog is mostly visually different, and with his absorbing touch ability, he turns into a red blob that you can kind of ignore. See, what I'm want to see is how long does it take to rank up to rank 2, and if I rank to rank 2, can I then well, upgrade to a rank 2 second version of that spell, or is it a case of you just have to replace the spell? So the way this game is designed, I wouldn't be surprised if the idea, and I don't know if how you'd actually accomplish this without playing it on the hardest level and playing it multiple times through. It might be the idea that you're supposed to rank 1 all the way up to its highest rank, which is rank 10. So a level 1 spell up to rank 10, and then you're supposed to just replace that with a rank 2 spell and level that up to rank 10, and then so on and so on and so on. I don't know. There's nothing actually forcing you to do it that way, so that would be like the worst case scenario.
You have triggered a trap.
Let's see. So yeah, let's summon some more zombies. It might just be that there's a system here that was not thought out well.
You have sprung a trap.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what's going on. And clearly, you would have to use the summon zombies constantly to rank it up. Some of these spells don't make any sense, even as a mage, that you would use them that often.
Anymore.
But then there's other things that don't make sense, like this inventory, so yeah, I guess it would make sense. The second I enchant a ring, it starts giving me other rings. Alright, so let's look at all these rings. Increase magic find, no. Potion resistance, no. Strength, no. Potion resistance, no. Alright. We'll take back our potions because I don't actually want to sell them. Sell that. And sell that. And yeah, there's nothing here of concern. Take the identify scrolls. In fact, just give those to me and then sell that item instead.
Your pet has departed.
While we're waiting, we will have him cast more spells. Don't want that, we don't want that, we do want this. Don't want that, or that, or that, or that, or that, or that, yeah. Or that. We're getting almost everything up to the unique status. Unique being that I basically gambled for it to get to that level. But I guess unique is legendary to use. Oops, hit the wrong button.
Your pet has returned.
2,400 gold. And back to the gameplay we go. Back to the grinding. I might as well use these health potions, but for as rare as we see these shrines of enchantment, every shrine should have been a shrine of enchantment. That would have been an easy late game decision too, just as people are playing it, to say, hey, on easy mode, let's change the shrines to shrines of enchantment, or perhaps do something else that that made it make a lot more sense, or made it more useful. Even in Diablo, the wells of health and wells of mana were often terrible. You could have had a system where if your health and mana is at full, it gives you experience or enchantment. If your health is low, it gives you just health. If it gives you if your mana is low, it gives you mana. Then there might be even a mini game balancing mechanic there where you could say, well, actually I could just go hurt myself, or take my pick. Yeah, I haven't seen in the game. These look like enemies we haven't fought in a while. We are still running into a lot of named enemies. I think that is just the way the game is going to go, which is fine. Like, that does add some variety to it. Not a lot, but a little. I guess the question here would be, when I hit something and it doesn't die, how much damage am I doing that's ineffective? It's telling me the numbers. I'm not paying any attention to them, but it's telling me them, as far as how much damage each character is taking. So I should keep an eye on the enemies and see what it says. We don't run into enough chests either. It's just awkwardly balanced. So 192 is the one hit, 221, 270, 74. Seems like the enemies might have 270. 119. Got a critical there that did 500. My critical chances aren't as high as I'd like it to be. Some things do die on the first hit, but it takes them a while to animate it, so that it's not just a simplistic falling down scenario. Is there no way down here? Looks like there isn't. Down we go to floor 20. If there's 50 floors, we are moving slower. This sounds like there's a boss here. Yeah. Unless this is just a really nice... Alright, we've got flying spirit enemies that are one-hit kills. Elementals. We've fought these guys before, but it's been a while. I want to just make sure I found everything here. Yep, we've got different music playing that indicates to me we are going to a boss fight. We're finding a lot of gold. If we got out of this area with the waterfalls, I might even turn the audio back up a little bit. But bad audio balance aside, it's fine. Yeah, it looks like we're going to a big flat area.
I thought you would come. How could you resist the call of Ordrock? Once this colossus has subdued you, your transformation will be complete.
So we get 1630 fame by clicking OK. it's kind of hard to even remember. Oh yeah, we're infected with the elements, and that's an issue, I guess. Alright, when I hit him, I'm doing 300. He's at half health. If I hit these guys with a weak hit, they are kind of...
I can't carry anymore.
I'm running into issues. Oh, and he just dropped a whole bunch of items that I actually want to keep. Increase gold find by 1. See, 154 fiery elm bow. Nothing to that I'd want. Yeah, I'm gonna have to gamble considerably, I think, with the... Man, if I could grind that character and get a whole bunch of gems, that would be nice. I'm just gonna... look around here and make sure I picked up everything. So yeah, that was supposed to be a big boss fight. Now again, I am playing on easy. That was my choice. I thus am stripping myself the challenge. Of course, if I was playing on harder, I'd just have to use my strategies a little bit better of casting spells and healing and just in general doing the things that need to be done. She's gonna talk to you.
Is subsiding. My faith in you was well placed. Have you encountered Master Ulrich again? I will have to deal with him eventually. I cannot allow him to become a servant of darkness. We are approaching the Ember Forge. One final obstacle remains. The Overseer's notes mention an ancient fortress infested with goblins. The hordes prevented him from ever reaching the dwarven fortress itself. Defeat the goblins, and we'll be close to our goal.
So I wonder if this next area is the more goblin fortress area.
A new quest.
So let's see. Quest-wise, we could go down one and then town portal, and it would probably be easier than what we're doing than just fast traveling using the waygate. I mean, really it doesn't matter. It's one thing or the other. It's you're going to see one load screen and then you're going to have to go through another load screen to get back to the tower.
Feel the heat building. The rock beneath my feet grew
I forgot
warm,
we get these
and
little bits of
sulfur
dialogue
burned
too.
in my nostrils. As I squeezed through the crack in the rock, I expected to see lava, but still, I was unprepared. The glow of bubbling rock blinded my cavern-adjusted eyes, and when my vision cleared, I saw what I at first took to be a fortress. I now know it to be a prison, set upon pillars of rock in a molten sea. Who could build such a thing? What could require such extreme incarceration? I am grateful that both prisoners and wardens have long since turned to dust.
So this is the main bad guy's journal. Alright. That we're reading. And this does look different at floor 21. If there really are 50 floors, then we aren't even halfway through it. Of course, that means the game would just get more grindy too.
Hello there.
Let's face it. All of this stuff is barely selling for anything. And so that. And sell that. Okay. There's some bows that are starting to look like they might do the amount of damage. 300 versus 250. 30 health stolen. But it requires a level of dexterity I don't have, so I need to start tossing things into dexterity again. I guess you can never really stop putting points into dexterity. Is there any weapon here that's part of any kind of set that would make sense? I'm almost certainly never going to get a full set of anything. Miscellaneous armor. Yeah, 23 berserk cord versus a 23 berserk cord. 24 berserk cord. It really seems like the store is limited down to a few items. This is a shield. So the comparison's not anywhere close. Dragon Slayer Sentinel. Level 31 armor. Require level 17. I feel like I already have a Dragon Slayer item. So I'm gonna come back and check to make sure it's not a dragon scale sentinel. And dragon scale versus dragon slayer are different things. Alright. I don't think anything else he's selling matches.
I got things to do.
So let's come over here. Dragon Slayer helm. Okay. Basically, this would be you're buying armor for some other character. And because there's not like any multiplayer here, that doesn't really make sense. So at level 17, you could use the Dragon Slayer helm and the Dragon Slayer Sentinel to have 2 pieces, which you'd need 3 pieces before you even get an increase in your armor, and you need a whole 5 pieces until you get all the resistance. Meanwhile, this Valcone's nose wipers, which were drops of from that one enemy, doesn't really work at all. Instead of even looking, well, we kind of have to though. We don't have enough room. So I'll take all the skulls and bring them out. This green one can stay where it is because I don't think we have cut core ember, which I don't think that's anything. So we have a bunch of skulls. We have a pure ember that won't do anything. We have a dull eyeball, which discolored eyeball and dull eyeball. Then we have reds. So this is not as much transmuting as I thought it was going to be. Meanwhile, we'll just take these and these and these.
Hail!
Alright. Dull skull plus another dull skull. Transmutes into a discolored skull. Cracked skull. And cracked skull. Transmutes into a dull skull. Discolored skull and discolored skull transmutes into a skull. So we could get 14 health stolen on our weapon, which right now it has 6 health recovery per second. A health stolen per weapon sounds like a nice upgrade, so that will be something that we'll try to get at some point. You know, it might just be easier to put all these in here and see what it decides to do with it. Discolored fire ember turns into fire ember. There we go. So fire ember would do plus 12 fire damage or plus 10 fire resistance, and I don't know what specifically I'd even want to use to try and get rid of fire resistance. There we go. Can we just transmute all of those? No. That's asking too much. It's easier just to do this over and over again.
Smiles on you. Fortune is kind to you.
Let's see.
Fortune is kind to you. Fortune smiles on you.
We still really don't have enough health.
Fortune smiles on
We have 1218 and this does 1600 health, so there's definitely some weirdness to the fact that we're doing so well in the health department, but the healths don't really sell well enough to be justifiable. I don't think transmuting the healths up to their maximum amount so you can just sell them really makes sense. I wish that there was a faster way to do this, but seems like there isn't. There's no hotkey to transmute. Like, I can't just hit T and transmute, which would be the only thing I would imagine would have worked.
Smiles on you. Fortune smiles on you. Fortune is kind to you.
We are actually rather poor still as far as gold, at only slightly below 6,000. There we go. And transmute that. And then transmute one of those. Okay.
Good journey.
So we've got now a stack of 20 plus 1, stack of 20 plus 8. So we could make some more at the grand potions if we care to. The red gem. And then these skulls. Our best so far. Dull skull, cracked skull, fire ember, cracked fire ember. Spell wise, draining touch 2, charm 2. Probably should sell some of these. Let's look at the dog as far as spells. Summon Archer 3. I think he learned the spell himself. as soon as he could. And Draining Touch too. Yeah, I guess there's no reason not to sell that. And Summon Zombies too is not something that I can learn myself. So the dog apparently knows how to deactivate and unlearn a spell, but I don't. It says next level 2. How do you get to the next level on these things? No. That's the question, is how do you level up on spells? It seems like you don't ever do that. Alright.
I've got the finest cut gems and Ember.
I don't need Draining Touch, so we can sell that. I don't want Charm, so we can sell that. And we're just gonna hold on to Summon Zombies too. Although there's probably something else that would make a lot more sense. Was she selling anything that would be useful? We can get a Cracked Eyeball and Cracked Flow Ember and Dull Core and another Dull Core. And just as an efficiency sake, I'm going to just put all of these over here and not even try and transmute them, even though I definitely could transmute some of them. Then this guy wouldn't be selling anything. Not really.
Good day to you.
So we're in a position where we're trying to save up our money a little bit. And yeah, we're just kind of back to the game. What's a little surprising here, what would be funny is if actually there's only like 25 floors and this is the Hell/Diablo-esque final level. If that's the case, then wow, I guess okay. I was trying to just rush through this whole game and move on to Torchlight 2, so I'd be okay with that. It would feel a little weird, but whatever. We seem to be very, very close to our next level and not too close to our next fame level, which is going to kind of suck because I would want to see Treasure Hunter get up to level 10, but man, if I misjudged it and I guessed that there were 50 levels and there was actually 25, then we'll barely get Treasure Hunter going, let alone it really would be a whole new Game Plus scenario that I'd have to decide to do. Let's see. On easy, time played, it says 8 hours and 52 minutes. So according to the in-game timer, that would really put this at a rather short experience. What's weird about that though is it definitely has not felt like it's been 10 hours. It's felt like it's been 20 hours, and that's not really a good thing at all. That points to some dangers, certainly. It seems like his experience right now says 10,100,000 and something. So it seems like his experience is the same as your experience, and that they're tied together, which would be nice. We haven't really missed any quests or anything. So yeah, another hour, and either this is a halfway point or this is closer to the end than I thought. That'd be strange, but I'd be okay with it too. I could see myself, even though this is a like 10-year-old game, I could see myself coming back to this 5 years from now and saying, let's play a new Game Plus at that point. which is not something that I've really ever said about any other game. Maybe some of my favorite games like Portal, Portal 1, Portal 2, I could come back and play them for the third, fourth, fifth time I've played them, but most games, particularly when you have so many others available to you, as I do, it's hard to find the time or the justification. It would be really hard 5 years down the line to find true justification to play something like Torchlight a third time. But if there isn't any other game like this, and I had already played Diablo, which I definitely need to play Diablo 1 and Diablo 2 at some point, just to refresh myself on it. But yeah, if they don't make in the next 5 years another Diablo-esque game that's slightly like this and interesting, then I would come back to this. Now, that's almost a false statement, undoubtedly, because I bet if I did the research, I'm probably just not aware of 5 to 20 to maybe a dozen Diablo-esque games that are like this, that work just the same way. And if you broaden what you're expecting and you get away from something that looks a little like Diablo and demonic, and you get to maybe some of the ARPGs, action RPG games, and some of the Japanese style animation styles, or if you go in and find some games that look completely different, in a completely different non-fantasy style, I bet that there are a lot of things that are very similar to this. But then again, those other things probably have a lot of improvements to this too, to make the game less repetitive and have a more interesting story. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.